Hello, and welcome to today's episode of In the Moment. I'm your host, Michael Clark, certified life coach, former therapist, and owner of Clark Coaching Services. I was a therapist for 8 years of my career and have been a life coach for almost 2 years now, and I just want to give back and share my knowledge and experience with you to try to help navigate this thing we call life. Thank you in advance for listening, and I'm so glad you're here. So, there's something I want to talk about today that almost no one talks about openly, but so many people experience. It's something I've experienced myself. It's what I call relationship weight. Not weight gain from laziness, not weight gain from lack of discipline, but weight gain from something far more complex: emotional safety and security. Over the past year, I've gained about 10 to 12 pounds. And what made it confusing wasn't just the number on the scale, it was that nothing obvious had changed in my life. My habits weren't dramatically different, my awareness hadn't disappeared, my knowledge hadn't gone away, yet my body had shifted. And it forced me to ask a deeper question, not just what am I eating, but what has changed in my life and in my nervous system. Because the truth is, our bodies don't just reflect our habits, they reflect our emotional state. They reflect our identity. They reflect our level of safety and security. And when that changes, the body often changes too. Today, I want to explain why this happens, as well as provide tools to assist in getting control back of yourself. Not from a place of shame, but from a place of understanding. Because when you understand what's happening, you regain control without losing the emotional states that created it in the first place. Before this past year, my weight had been relatively stable. I knew my patterns, I knew my baseline. But over time, slowly and almost invisibly, the number began to rise. A pound here, 2 pounds there, nothing dramatic, nothing alarming at first, but eventually enough to notice. And like most people, the first instinct is to look for a behavioral explanation. What am I doing wrong? What did I stop doing? Where did my discipline go? But the deeper truth was this: my life had changed. It was no longer operating from the same emotional baseline I had been before. I was in a relationship that provided emotional safety, stability, and consistency. And while that was emotionally healthy, it created physiological changes I had not fully anticipated. Because when the nervous system feels safe, it behaves differently. Not worse, just different. So when you're single, especially for extended periods, your nervous system operates differently. There's often subtle state of vigilance, not panic, not anxiety necessarily, but readiness. Your nervous system remains slightly activated, slightly alert, slightly prepared, prepared to attract, prepared to present, prepared to maintain a version of yourself that feels ready for evaluation. This state increases subconscious activity. It increases movement. It often reduces appetite stability. It creates a body that is operating from a place of readiness. But when you enter a relationship where emotional safety is established, that vigilance decreases. The nervous system shifts into parasympathetic dominance, which is the state of safety. Rest, recovery, preservation is also included. This is the state the nervous system prefers, but it is also changes metabolism, appetite regulation, and subconscious activity. You may move slightly less without realizing it. You may feel less urgency around physical maintenance, not because you don't care, but because your nervous system is no longer operating from a place of readiness. It's operating from a place of comfort and security. And that changes behavior in subtle but powerful ways. Now, there's another layer to this that goes even deeper: identity. When you're single, whether consciously or subconsciously, part of your identity includes attracting and maintaining attractiveness. Your nervous system allocates energy toward this. But when you enter a stable, emotionally safe relationship, your identity shifts. You're no longer trying to attract, you're trying to connect. You're no longer trying to prove your worth. You're living within established worth. And this changes the priorities of the nervous system, not because you've given up, but because the mission has changed. The body reflects identity. This is why life transitions often come with physical transitions: new jobs, new roles, new relationships, new emotional environments. The body adapts to the identity it believes it is living within. This is where it's important to remove shame from the conversation, because relationship weight is not a moral failure, it's not weakness, it is not lack of intelligence or discipline. It is often the nervous system responding appropriately to emotional stability, and that's okay. The problem, however, is unconscious drift. When awareness disappears, intentionality disappears. Not because you choose it, but because the nervous system stopped prioritizing it automatically, which means intentionality must now become conscious, not forced, not urgent, but conscious. Here is the most important truth: you do not need anxiety to be healthy. You do not need insecurity to be disciplined. You do not need fear to maintain your body. You only need intentionality. Emotional safety and physical intentionality can coexist. You can be emotionally secure and physically disciplined. You can feel loved and still take care of your body. You can feel safe and still act intentionally. The difference is no longer subconscious motivation, it's conscious alignment. It is choosing behaviors that reflect the identity you want to live within, not out of fear, not out of urgency, but out of self respect, out of awareness, out of care for yourself. Because your body is not separate from your emotional life, it's a reflection of it. Let me say that again. Your body is not separate from your emotional life, it is a reflection of it. And when you understand this, you stop fighting yourself and you start working with yourself. Now that we understand what relationship weight is, the real question becomes, how do you lose it without losing the emotional safety that created it? Because the goal is not to recreate anxiety, the goal is to recreate intentionality. And that requires a different approach than most people think. Not punishment, not restriction, not extremes, but conscious re engagement. I'm going to share some tools that might work, both physiologically and psychologically. Tool number one: reestablished identity first, not behavior. Most people try to change behavior immediately. They focus on food, they focus on exercise, but behavior follows identity, not the other way around. You must first connect with the identity of someone who takes care of their body, not someone who is trying to lose weight. This can begin with something as simple as asking yourself one question each day. What would the physically aligned version of me do today? Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly. Identity drives behavior automatically once it's reactivated. Tool number two, increase movement without calling it exercise. One of the biggest physiological changes in relationships is a reduction in subconscious movement. This is called NEAT, NEAT, non exercise activity thermogenesis. It includes things like walking, standing, moving around the house, posture changes. When emotional safety increases, unconscious movement often decreases, not intentionally, but automatically. The solution is not intense workouts, it is restoring baseline movement. Simple tools include standing up every hour, walking for 5 to 10 minutes twice per day, parking further away, taking stairs instead of elevators. These small changes restore metabolic activity without stress. One of the things that I do is purposely leave something behind upstairs or downstairs. And so I am able to take more trips up and down the stairs, bringing one item at a time up and down to consciously move, consciously walk up and down the stairs to get some exercise instead of just sitting in front of my computer all day. Those little things make a difference. Those little things help. Tool number three, restore awareness, not restriction. Relationship weight often develops from unconscious eating, not excessive eating. Eating becomes paired with comfort, presence, and bonding with your partner. Again, not bad, just unconscious. The solution is awareness, not restriction. Before eating, pause for 10 seconds. Ask yourself, am I physically hungry or emotionally comfortable? Both are valid, but awareness restores choice. Choice restores control. Tool number four, reintroduce personal structure. When you're single, structure often exists naturally. Schedules, routines, consistency. Relationships can soften structure. Life becomes shared instead of individually structured. Reintroducing light structure restores alignment. This can include consistent meal timing, consistent sleep timing, consistent wake timing. The nervous system thrives on predictability. Predictability improves metabolic regulation. Tool number five, separate emotional safety from physical neglect. This is the most important psychological tool. Many people subconsciously associate physical discipline with emotional insecurity. They believe if I become physically disciplined again, I'm losing emotional safety. This is not true. Physical care is not rejection of emotional safety, it is reinforcement of self respect. You're not preparing to be chosen, you are choosing yourself. That is a completely different psychological state. Tool number six, remove urgency completely. Urgency activates stress. Stress destabilizes the nervous system and paradoxically makes weight loss harder. The goal is not rapid change, the goal is realignment. When the nervous system feels safe and intentional Simultaneously, the body naturally returns towards its baseline, not forced, not rushed, aligned. I want to share something personal here because I saw this happen in my own body recently. For months, my weight had been sitting around 192 pounds, and I was feeling it in every state, mentally, physically, and emotionally. I need to get this weight off. And my nervous system was in a constant state of urgency since I struggled with my weight most of my life. Then something happened. I got sick. Nothing serious, just a simple cold, but my routine was interrupted. My focus shifted away from my weight completely. I wasn't thinking about fixing anything. I wasn't trying to change anything. There was no urgency. My only priority was resting and recovering. And within just a few days, my weight dropped from 192 to 188. 4 pounds, but I had not seen anything in the 180s in almost a year. Now, yeah, some of that was fluid and inflammation, but that's not the important part. The important part was what created the release. The urgency was gone. My nervous system was no longer being signaled that something needed to be fixed. It was simply allowed to exist in a state of recovery and safety. And when that happened, my body stopped holding on so tightly. It let go, not because I forced it, but because I stopped pressuring it. This was a powerful reminder that the body does not respond well to urgency. Urgency signals instability. Instability signals preservation, but safety signals release. The moment the pressure was removed, my body was able to shift naturally. This is why removing urgency is not passive, it's strategic. Because when the nervous system no longer feels pressured to defend, the body no longer feels the need to hold on. And change becomes possible again, not through force, but through alignment. And finally, tool number 7, reconnect with physical self respect. This is deeper than weight. It is about the relationship with your body. Movement becomes an act of respect. Nutrition becomes an act of respect. Sleep becomes an act of respect, not control, respect. Your body responds differently when treated as an ally instead of an enemy. Relationship weight is not a sign that something is wrong or something you have to fight. It is often a sign that something is right. It means your nervous system feels safe. It means your body no longer feels the need to operate from vigilance. But safety does not mean abandonment. It does not mean neglect. It means you now have the opportunity to act from a place of choice rather than fear, from intentionality rather than urgency, from alignment rather than reaction. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may need to hear it. And remember, your body is not your enemy, it's your messenger. Learn to listen to it, and it will guide you back into alignment. If you want to discuss more or learn more, you know how to reach me, clarkcoachingservices.com. Thank you.